What was my favorite show of the year? My favorite match of the year? My favorite male and female wrestlers of the year for AEW? This is the first ever Maverick Medals that I'm going to be giving out for my favorites of the year of 2025, as it is now 2026. Stay tuned for all of those awards here on Screw the Script. Welcome back, everybody, to Screw the Script. I'm your host, as always, Maverick. Thank you for joining me. Very special episode here. The very first time I've ever done these. I came up with my own award system. They are called the MAVERICK Medals, and I will be giving away 11 of them on this video. And without further ado, let's get into the 2025 Maverick Awards. And you will see my picks for each of these 11 awards. You can let me know down below in the comments what you would pick for each of these categories, but this is what I think is the best of the best from 2025 for AEW. Starting off with the smaller awards, but still very important for my 11 awards. Next year I will be doing a 12th. The only thing that I left out that was important was Women's Tag Team of the Year, because they just got the women's tag titles not too long ago here. And so we really didn't see a whole year's worth anyway of great women's tag team action and title defenses and such. So that's going to be saved for next year. If I had to do an honorable mention award, then it would go to the Babes of Wrath if I had to pick a women's tag team, because they are the inaugural women's tag champs. But again, I didn't officially make one, so I just wanted to get that out there. We're going to start with the entrance of the year. This was a really tough one for me, actually. I had to sit and think about all these fun and cool and unique entrances that happened throughout the year of 2025. But it's going to go back to July of 2025. At All in Texas was the Kenny Omega entrance that he had. His live performance, which is really hard to have a solid live performance, but I don't remember his name, but the guy that sings Omega's alternate entrance song did a really, really good job. Him coming out to the flaming Omega symbol, I mean, that photo up there is just gorgeous. And that is what the Maverick medal looks like right above it. That is my pick for entrance of the year. My next award is going to be the Breakout Star of the Year. And that, for me personally, is going to Kevin Knight. He signed in 2025 and just immediately took off. He's had great match after great match after great match, and then great tag matches as one half of Jet Speed. Kevin Knight, I think, is going to have a fantastic 2026. I think at some point in that year he will hold on to singles gold, or they have Jet Speed hold on to the tag titles. Maybe they're the ones that defeat FTR later on in 2026. Kevin Knight wins the Breakout Star of the Year award. The next one is a very important one, I think, for pro wrestling, because you can have ups and downs in your career, but to be able to come back and have a great portion of your career as a comeback year is going to go to Bandito for Comeback Wrestler of the Year. He is one half of Bro Dito and had a great run as Bro Dito as tag champs. He's been ROH champion for months now, and you got to remember, he had a really bad sickness that he dealt with that I believe caused him to become hospitalized. So to go from that to having the year that he had in 2025, it was hard not to give this award to Bandito. He is my Comeback Wrestler of the Year. Next, we're going to do Tag Team of the Year. That, in my opinion, is none other than the Hurt Syndicate winning Tag Team of the Year for that Maverick medal. They had an insanely good first half of 2025 as a dominant tag team, as tag team champs. They eventually did lose the titles, but they are still a dominant force in the tag division. And I think that when they became tag champs in 2025, it really put meaning back into the AEW title picture. Because for a little while, they kind of fell flat in the AEW title picture. And I really think the Hurt Syndicate is a big reason why the tag titles had more meaning again this year in 2025. So they're my winner for Tag Team of the Year. Best promo of the year, hands down. This happened almost a year ago, and I still quote it in my head all the damn time. That is going to be Toni Storm and Mariah May when they sat down with Renee backstage before their Hollywood-ending match. Was one of the best promos I can think of in some time. Toni basically telling Mariah May that she's going to go on to be good, but not great. She's going to have a career of mediocrity. I still think about that promo all the time, and it was over a year ago because it was at the very beginning of the year, and now it's 2026. That is easily my promo of the year. Toni Storm was a runner-up for Female Wrestler of the Year, which we'll get to later on. Because of a very special thing that actually happened and why she was overtaken by somebody else as Female Wrestler of the Year, but Toni Storm was runner-up. This match was a really, really solid match as well, and that too was also runner-up for Match of the Year, which we'll get to whoever won that later on. Now we're going to get on to Show of the Year. I've said it on my channel before, I kind of hinted on it. All in Texas, I think may actually be my absolute favorite AEW pay-per-view of all time of their 6 years, going on 7 years. It was a fucking thing of beauty. You had so many good matches on that show. You had the main event, which was an insanely memorable main event that had such a good storyline. It had some matches that I will absolutely never forget in the history of AEW, and that is why All in Texas was the Show of the Year for me. The storyline of the year is going to also partner with the Show of the Year, and that is going to be Hangman's redemption arc. I mean, look how cool this artwork is. If anybody has played Red Dead or Red Dead Redemption 2, really, really fun artwork that was made for this entire storyline. It really felt like a perfect story from start to finish. Even tying things together with Swerve in that main event, it was a thing of beauty. It's shit that you would never see happen over in WWE ever since their Bloodline saga ended. That was their best storyline that they've probably had in a decade, and it ran its course. Some would argue it ran too long, and I'm glad that this hit a sweet spot where it was done within a year. It didn't go off for 3-4 years. It was a perfect storyline for Hangman. One of the most memorable things in all of AEW's history. Now we're going on to the big four. The ones that I'm going to take a little bit more time to talk about. The final four, the Fantastic Four, for a Marvel joke there. These are, I think, the four most important awards of my Maverick medals. We're going to start with the moment of the year, which was the long-awaited, very, very anticipated moment that happened when Hangman finally opened that briefcase and revealed the AEW Championship, which hadn't been seen on television or in pay-per-views for many months while the Death Riders and Moxley had it. I don't know how you can pick anything else better than that moment. I think long game and long story, the long con that Moxley wanted to have happen, happened. He wanted the best of the best to step up to him in the Death Riders and to bring true meaning back into the AEW Championship and love for the sport of pro wrestling and winning that title back and having it back on the screen. I mean, you can't fucking beat that, in my opinion. It was that damn good. That wins my moment of the year. Hangman taking out that title in the briefcase. I've watched probably over a dozen times. The crowd reaction, everything about it was fucking perfect. And I hope that they can nail something like that again going forward in 2026. But that is my moment of the year. Now the final three, we're going to do the Men's Wrestler of the Year, Women's Wrestler of the Year, and then Match of the Year. Ladies first, we're going to start with Women's Wrestler of the Year. And like I said earlier in the video, Toni Storm was going to walk away with this, just like she would have in 2024 had I been doing these medals then. But last night on the final episode of Dynamite of the year, we saw Willow knock off Mercedes to become not only TBS champ, but she's also one half of the inaugural Women's Tag Champs. And with that specific reason, I feel like it's hard not to give the Maverick Award to Willow Nightingale for Women's Wrestler of the Year. She is the first woman in AEW to hold two titles at once, two AEW titles at once to be more specific, the TBS and one half of the inaugural women's tag champs. And that is something that no one will ever be able to take away from her. And that is why, last second, literally buzzer beater, Willow ends up being Women's Wrestler of 2025 for me. Now on to the second to last award. Men's Wrestler of the Year has to go to Kyle Fletcher. He is my winner for the Maverick Medal for Men's Wrestler of the Year. When I get on to Match of the Year in a few minutes here, he was in 4 of those 10 matches that I had it narrowed down to. The fact that he was in almost half of them alone kind of proves the point that I loved Kyle Fletcher in 2025. He had a great TNT title run. I think he was the star of the C2. There's many other arguments, all kinds of great matches that he had. You can go and rewatch pretty much every Kyle Fletcher match of 2025 and be very entertained by all of them. So Kyle Fletcher, you are the winner of the Men's Wrestler of the Year Maverick Medal. And finally, the most prestigious, important award, which proves why I think wrestling matches are more important than moments and promos, because Sports Illustrated and other places, this is their biggest one. And it's my biggest one too, because pro wrestling comes first. The match of the year is going to Hangman versus Moxley at All in Texas, kind of combining with other awards that it won with, storyline of the year, moment of the year, and now match of the year. This had the perfect build-up. It had a great storyline. The reveal at the end, the match itself was great. So many near falls, so many moments where you thought it was going to be over for Hangman, when you thought it was going to be over for Moxley. The way that he made Moxley tap out, the crowd reaction, every second of this match was perfect. And I believe it got one of the rare 6 out of 6 cans of whip-ass ratings for me. That is why this was Match of the Year and closing out my first ever 2025 Maverick Medals. That's all I had on this episode of Screw the Script. Again, let me know down below your picks for all of my Maverick Medals, what you would have picked for all 11. I'm really curious to see what you guys have to say about that. If you have any opposition, if you agree with any of the ones that I picked, just let me know down in the comments. And as always, this has been Maverick with Screw the Script. Thanks for watching.